If you're curious about core beliefs and how they might be impacting your behavior, choices, or actions, this video is for you. If you've been to my channel before, welcome back. If you're new, my name is Ross and I'm an intuitive counselor. Today's topic is, what are core beliefs? And this is a really important topic because core beliefs really have a big impact on how we interact with the world, how we engage the world, or even how we might disengage from the world. And I'll start off with, how do these core beliefs get formed? And I'll say something first that is kind of the guiding piece throughout this, and it is that we see the world as we are, not as it is. I'll say that again. We see the world as we are, not as it is. If you and I are in a situation where we witness something, you and I might both see that situation completely different. And the reason we'll see it completely different is because of our beliefs and because of our experiences, the things that have created us. We are a byproduct of our environment. In other words, the environment that we're in kind of programs us, it informs us of how we're meant to be. And those core experiences, or those early experiences of forming who we are, become how we show up in the world, becomes how we see the world. We see the world with a filter, if you will, based on the beliefs that are created. And some of those beliefs serve us and others don't. And others are related to emotional trauma, and they kind of skew the way we might see the world. Um, so some of those beliefs might be, I'm not safe. And so that's a belief that is important. And at the same time, the volume might be turned up too high on it. So there's all sorts of nuances of what this shows up as. That said, we have these core beliefs that are really, to use the metaphor, driving the bus. And the reason that core beliefs are important to explore is because if a core belief is driving the bus, we need to take that seat back. We need to be the one driving the bus, and we need to come to a place of understanding or reconciliation around these core beliefs and bring them back to balance. As human beings, we tend to go to extremes. In other words, we experience something and we go to the extreme opposite as a way of managing that. And sometimes in that way of going to the extreme opposite, we miss the middle ground. And so exploring your core beliefs is about finding that middle ground, coming back to balance, coming back to a more middle road view of the world. And that takes time, of course, because a healing journey does take time. But the first piece is to sort of uncover, what are these core beliefs? And some of them that you might be able to relate to, and there's so many and so many different variations of how this can show up. But the core ones are like, I'm not good enough, I'm not thin enough, I'm not beautiful enough, I'm not smart enough, or I'm too smart, or I'm too much, I'm the list goes on. And this is such an important piece. And I'll just share a bit of my own story. When I was 2 years old, I electrocuted myself, and I may have shared this story before in another video, but I essentially put a pair of tweezers in my mother's vanity mirror in the plug, and my hands were black, and I created a core belief from that experience. Everyone around me was rightfully, freaking out and concerned and worried about my well-being and wanted to make sure I was okay. But at the same time, I was viewing this situation at 2 years old, and I could only hang on to this piece of, I'm bad. And that experience created this unconscious core belief that I'm bad. And that core belief ran up until, I think, about 5 or 6 years ago. And that's when it surfaced through some medicine work that I was doing. And it was revealed to me, and I was just like, oh gosh, like, this core belief of I'm bad was running through all sorts of different areas of my life. It affected me at work, it affected me in my relationships. My manager would ask to speak to me, and my immediate thought is, what did I do wrong? And I might even get on, excuse me, in the defensive. I might even take on this defensive role and bring that energy into a conversation that was not at all about me being bad or wrong. So this is how our core beliefs show up, because they're kind of like these programs that are running under the surface and we might not be aware of them. And the key is to rewrite the story, rewrite these beliefs, and bring them back to balance, as I've already said. Just an interesting little piece of wordplay. If you look at the word belief, there's literally the word lie in the middle. And so that's not to say that the belief is a complete lie, because there's usually some truth in there as well. But it's just pointing to that word lie to bring some awareness to it, that this is something that needs to be challenged and needs to be looked at and needs to be brought to the surface so that we can become more at choice and return to a sense of empowerment. So core beliefs are really, really important to unearth, to bring to the surface so that we can become aware of the programming that is driving our bus and take our power back. So I think I'll leave it there for now. Hopefully that's given you a bunch of things to think about and consider. If you have questions, please feel free to write your questions in the comments. If you know someone who would benefit from this video, please consider sharing it. And if you're interested in my services, my website address is in the description of the video. And I'm so grateful that you took the time to watch this video, and I wish you all the best and sending you unconditional love. See you again next time. Bye for now.